Hi everyone, today's the day that we remember Saint Paquita and we pray for an end to human trafficking. We pray for children that lose their parents and all displaced persons, that all of us would find good jobs, that we would find stability. And we pray for an end to corruption and an end to an imbalance of power. For me today, I especially remember my mom and my dad, and they came from poor families, but they were always honest. They never did drugs, they never did crime. They know about the police treating people badly. When my mom was in Zimbabwe, when we had all these break-ins, she had to go on her own as a woman and see the criminals and look at the lineups, and it was terrifying. She used to get us to sit in the car and she used to go in. Same with my dad. It was terrifying for us when the police used to come because we never knew whether they were going to take him or not. They never took him. They had a lot of respect for him. And my grandfather was a civic policeman. So as children, we grew up in the war, but we felt safe in our schools. We never feared anyone would come and take us. And we had a good community. Unfortunately for me in Canada, after all my hard work and working hard, it hasn't been a positive experience. It's been an experience of low wages and never being treated properly. After I left TD, it was all contract work. But I've done everything with a grateful heart, and I've had the support of Regis College in standing up to the harassment I faced from the past executive of Credit Suisse. Even today, when I go and visit my mom, they still call and tell Eddie where I am. Or when I go and went to the Elvis movie, and it's disgusting. I don't like it. They were told by the police to stop. They still don't stop. And apparently he just wants to know where I am. For what? I'm not his friend. And for the women that go around supporting him, saying he's sweet, what about my life? Have you ever thought that there are pimps out there, that there are men out there who will target me? Who will say, oh, she's on her own and maybe we can get her into trafficking. She's in a low-wage job. I got a package here last year. It was a Gucci bag. And nobody knows who sent it to me. I sent it right back to the Bay. And I called them, they said, we don't know who sent that to you. For all I know, it could have been the police testing me. And there's corruption everywhere, in the church, in the banks, wherever you go. It's not like any place is free of it. And the banks are the worst, so they mustn't go around saying, oh, we never meant it that way, Eddie didn't mean it that way. It doesn't matter how you meant it, you were told to stop. And I'm totally disgusted with the banks and what's happened. The least they could do is confirm it and say, yes, you know what, Belinda did tell, and she did say she doesn't want this and she wants it to stop. They spoiled my mother's reputation, they spoiled my reputation. My mom was young when we lost my dad. She was 28 and she did everything right by us. She did her duty, she provided for us. We went through hard times. We went through times where we didn't have food. We didn't have electricity. We wore hand-me-down clothes. I wore my sister's clothes. She didn't like it. I still had to do it. My mom went through a lot, and it's not fair to me for all being targeted by all these men. Oh, I want to be your friend. I want to be your friend, sending me messages on Facebook. It's not fair to me. I don't go around targeting women and men. I don't go around doing that to other people. And there's no respect today. They say, oh, equal values. What do you mean by equal values? I don't want a society where hard drugs become legal. I don't want a society where I have to fear going out on the street or somebody who's suffering from addiction attacking me for no reason. That's not the society that I want. I want to be safe. I want to be free to go where I want and do what I want. And I'm not a person that goes to night strip clubs or does anything that's illegal. I don't need to be tracked and followed, and people don't need to be concerned about my safety. I'm quite capable of making my own decisions. I needed a job, a permanent job. That's what I wanted. And I got my job. Now I'm happy. It's not the best paying job, but it's permanent. It's given me stability. It's easy for others to judge and say, why have you moved around? Why you've got all these high qualifications? Did you hire me? Did you say, you know what, you've got good qualifications, I'll hire you? You didn't. So stop judging people who come here from other countries and don't think, oh, poor little African girl, I can get her into my harem. No. Because there is a God, and God does see. I know there were people who never thought I'd be able to work again and hold a job. And they told me to my face. And I said, you must be kidding. I've done such a good job everywhere I've worked, and that's your attitude? I've graduated, I've put myself through college, I've got my master's, all without your help. But that's your attitude? My mother cries when I call her, and sometimes I cry too, because there's nothing we can do except put our faith in God. If God has brought us this far, He's going to be with us through the good and through the bad. It's not fair what this woman has done to me and what all these people at Credit Suisse have done to me and my sister and my mother. It's not fair. And forcing me to get a psychiatric assessment, it's not fair. I should have been able to say no, and the police should have stood up to them and said no. There's a lot of things that are contradictory in this life. And if she doesn't want to do it, she doesn't have to do it, as long as she has support and she talks to a doctor. That's what should have happened. But no, they forced me to do it. They told me if I didn't do it, they would come and arrest me. So I wrote to Cyril Ramaphosa to tell him, because I'm a graduate of it. I have a right to tell him, and they have a right to know, and these things don't only happen to me. When I went home, when I went to South Africa, they told me, we hear stories about this from you, we've heard it from other people, other South Africans who go to Canada, who go to Australia, who go to New Zealand. It's not only you. They said to me, just be strong. People have told me. And some of the stalwarts of the liberation struggle have told me that. This is not only happening to you. And it's sad. It's very, very sad. And they put the church in the middle of it, saying, oh, we like her, we like her. I didn't say anything. When I used to come home, I used to call the priests and tell them, if they like me so much, why didn't they talk to me? So my prayer is that what goes around comes around. It might sound harsh, but it's not. Because there's no justice without mercy, and there's no mercy without justice. They had no mercy on me. They knew I was struggling. They knew I didn't have a job. They knew I was going bankrupt. They had no mercy on me and on my family. And when I say my family, I'm not talking about my uncles in the US. They are well off. They are provided for. They've worked, and they are comfortable with their lives. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about me and my family, my immediate family. And that's my prayer, just like with Pope Francis. Before, Pope Francis used to only do it for Africa. Now he's doing it for everyone, because it's happening everywhere. And I don't hide it, because it's not only happening to me. It's happening to liberal Muslims, it's happening to Hindus, it's happening to Catholics, and it's happening especially to single women. It's really, really bad. And I feel sorry for Credit Suisse, because they should have stood up to it. They've got Roger Federer representing them. So what? He's not a tennis player anymore. And when people were telling Roger, don't go back and don't play, wait, don't have that operation, he listened to them. So The tennis career is over now. You have to be careful who you listen to also, and how you make decisions. So we'll keep praying, not only for myself. My mom prays for me, I pray for my family. We keep praying for each other. Because at the end of the day, what values you support says a lot. There's no compassion. Communism has no compassion. I can tell you that. Compassion and empathy and love and mercy, those are Christian values. They come from our Bible. There's no mercy and empathy and all that in communism. It doesn't exist. So you have to choose your values very carefully. And you have to choose what history you choose to remember. Who came and took the slaves from Africa? The Arabs. The Arabs and the Americans. And who was the first to end it? Britain. So America likes to pretend like, oh, they're on top, they're fighting, they're activists, they're ending AIDS. Their pharmaceutical is a big industry. Americans shouldn't be too proud and too arrogant. They should remember the history of what they've done to other countries. And they should show a little humility and treat people with respect, and Canadians. They should show a little humility, because they're not nice. Everyone says, oh, Canadians are so polite. No, they're not. When you come here, you discover the real truth. People in Africa are more polite and more friendly than the people here. But things are not good in Africa. Things are going down. So we have to just keep praying for each other. That's all that we can do. It's becoming the same all over. Even in England now, there's a lot of poverty. Here in Canada, there's a lot of poverty. You can't get medication in the stores. You can't get toilet paper. So it's becoming the same all over. One world government. They coordinated everything. How did they coordinate my trip? From England to Zimbabwe to South Africa back to Canada. It's too much corruption for me. I'm praying. I continue to pray every day. And I will continue to pray, because if God could get me this job, God can help me to get a house, to buy the things I want, to come up, to earn a good salary. God can help me. And He can help you, depending on where you put your values.